Hello? Who's that? Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
One. Two.
What the heck, man? StreamYard is way better than this. But what's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? Welcome to Facci Cinema. Hopefully you are not new here, but if you are, make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button on the video. Tell your friends. You want to see mediocre content, you come right over here because that's what I'm going to give you guys. But we're back at Crystal Lake once again, hanging out. Getting the cabins all ready to go, getting the food all fucking prepared. It's not very good food either. It's pretty shitty. Davey made it, so he would know. Skinny dipping, all kinds of fun shit going down. But we're going to do a redo review series on the channel because I reviewed these when I first started YouTube 5 years ago, and they are terrible. And I know it's just like, oh, he's just being modest. No, they're terrible. They're real bad. Lighting was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing Halloween and Friday the 13th at the same time. They were dog shit reviews, and it is what it is. So we're going to justify that and have a review series for this amazing franchise. And kicking off episode 1, Friday the 13th, 1980, we have Davey Deathray. Just got out of the kitchen. There he is.
What's happening, everyone? How y'all doing?
The food's not good, but it is what it is.
No.
Nobody said he was a chef.
That's
okay.
I like Matt. I like how you always start your streams off by being like, "Hey, this is going to be really bad. I don't make good content," and then the older content is even worse. But thank you so much for tuning in.
It can't get any worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe
That's
me,
how I
check
start.
them out.
That's how I start every date is like, hey, this is going to be awful. I'm not charming. I'm a complete mess. My life is just total shit. You're not going to have a good time, but I really appreciate you hanging out with me tonight.
Check.
Yeah.
And we also have joining us a huge fan of this movie, Jason, not Voorhees, from BackTrack Cinema. J-Man, what's up,
everyone?
Welcome in, guys. Really appreciate you both coming on for this episode. I needed people who love this movie because I thought it was few and far between, but upon my polls, I guess I'm wrong. I guess a lot of people actually do like this movie. So,
yeah,
shame on me. Shame on me. But this is going to be like my Good, the Bad, the Judgment series, but live and interactive with the chat and you guys. So, first, real quick, before we dive into our thoughts, I'm going to go over the little details, information of this bad boy. We got Friday the 13th, obviously, released in 1980, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, story by Sean S. Cunningham, and Victor Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, those people who held it in court forever.
Assholes.
Still haven't quite figured it out. You really,
no. We got music by Harry Manfredini. Fantastic score. Not as good as Halloween, but still good. What can you say? Cast here, we got Betsy Palmer, Adrian King, and I had to include Kevin Bacon because, he's Kevin Bacon. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Love the setting, obviously. Camp Nobi Bosco, real Boy Scout camp in New Jersey. Live so close, but I've never been there, unfortunately. It's on the bucket list to do. So hopefully one day I'll be able to get there.
We all got to get there. Like all us YouTubers got to have a big reunion.
That'd be crazy.
That would be freaking awesome.
In 5 years, and for the 50th, we should organize.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, man. That'd be freaking wild, wouldn't it?
It's cool too, dude. They got like sleepovers. You stay overnight. They cost a lot of money, obviously, but you can sleep overnight. They show the movie in town and outside. it seems like a lot of cool stuff, but I just never managed to get there, especially with kids. It makes it really hard to try to do something like that when they're young still.
I
If
hear
you pay extra money, you get to share a bunk with Vincent DeSanti.
Extra money. Holy.
Well, I might be able to swing a deal. We were buds, so maybe I.
We're homies. Let's say hello to the chat real quick. Who's here before we dive in? God, I hate Restream. I don't know why I keep using it. Probably because it's cheap, but it's trash. We got Zodiac Z, Rosie, my darling. How are you? Jamie Hart, always a pleasure.
Wonderful people in this chat, man.
We got Blu-ray Addict. What's going on? Paula, how are you? Damn, it's like zoomed so fast. And the button I use to scroll down is so damn tiny that I can't even touch it. We got Brooke. We got Adrian.
That's what she said.
Just shut your fucking mouth,
Dude.
Jackass. It's rude.
Rosie's hairy manscapadini. Rosie, you are a gem. Please come hang out on my channel and make jokes as well. We need more of that.
Antonis, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Speaking of Antonis, before we get started, a little super chat. Thanks, buddy. I watched the first time watch horror movie last night called Omen 3: The Final Conflict. Have you seen it? No, I have not. And that's the one with Sam Neill, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
I
so.
haven't seen it. I've only seen the first one, and I love it.
I've seen
me too.
First one remake and the first Omen. Haven't seen the middle ones.
That's a series I got to check out. Yeah,
I got the box set, but I never watched the other ones. So, what are you gonna do? Dean Renner, what's up, Dean? Go check out Dean's channel if you have not.
What's up, buddy?
Byron Weaver, what's going on, buddy? I was talking to you earlier. Hope you're doing well. Herbert, what's going on, buddy? I know you love the original Friday, so I knew you'd be here, my good man. All right, Allie girl, what's up? I left Aaron Click. Let's sell your kids. Yes, sell my kids. I think I'd have to pay the people to take them.
Yeah,
so we're not going to do that. But obviously, you know how these things go. We started off with all the good things about the original Friday the 13th. And, you know, we'll just go around. I'll drop it off to Davey. And what is good about the Friday the 13th, 1980?
Well, I think for this one, you know, for being admittedly an imitation of Halloween, you know, in Sean S. Cunningham's words, I know that's no secret. I think this one does, it still titillates, and it's very exciting, and it goes, you know, of course, more over the top with the gore and everything like that. I think that's sort of like the revolutionary change here from, whereas, you know, Halloween has more of like a Hitchcockian Psycho kind of feel as far as how the dread and the thrills are created through, you know, the camera and the music and everything like that. I feel like Friday the 13th brings those thrills with, like, you know, amazing gore effects by Tom Savini, of course. And I think that whereas you had mentioned the score in Halloween is better than the score in Friday the 13th, but I will say that Friday the 13th kind of has a classic traditional horror score. The Harry Manfredini music is more like a Hitchcockian kind of soundtrack. So I think that's really fun, even though, you know, it's 1980, they're still kind of hearkening back to some of the tropes from like the 60s, which I think, especially within the first few movies, keeps these movies feeling really classic. And even though they look like late 70s, early 80s, they've got a feel that is relatively timeless. And this movie, kind of like the experience that you had sort of described, you know, this last week on social media, Matt, just sort of like kind of coming to the realization that this movie is a lot better than it might seem at first blush. When you get into the series, you want Jason. He's sort of like the anti-hero. You know, we root for him in a way. But I do think that this is one of those movies in the series that I find that I get a lot more enjoyment of the older I get. So when I did my ranking like last year, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be in like the back third of the ranking. And then by the time I watched them all through again before doing the ranking, I was like, shit, this is like the fourth or fifth favorite of mine in the franchise. So it climbed up a few spots. So, you know, I think there's something about that. I think it also reminds me of like some of like the Mario Bava and the was it Lamberto Bava as well? Like those kind of giallo feel, you know, there's a little bit of that going on as well. So I think there's a lot to like from this movie, and it is unique in the series because from here on, really, it's just this one and then part 5, A New Beginning, that have the similarity of, you know, a parent who's lost a child that's, you know, mentally diminished. I guess I'll just try to find a politically correct way of saying it. And then it's about their revenge. So these two, the part 1 and part 5, kind of stand out in that sense. And yeah, can't beat the camper vibes. This one's really damn good and really important for the franchise moving forward.
I agree. And now, hey,
Little
why
echo.
can I still hear my phone? Well, since I did this, let me put this on the screen because I forgot to read this. If it pops up. There we go. The stat line. We have critics gave it a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is the shit or anything, but that's just what I based it off of. Audience score of 60%. Budget, they had a $550,000 and a box office total of $59.8 million. So definitely a nice little chunk of change for,
that's
this little rinky-dink
a lot
movie.
of money.
Yeah.
It is. I didn't think it made that much, but it did, and the critics liked it, and audiences liked it a lot as well. And you know, it's definitely growing on me. So, Jason, what do you have? What is good about Friday the 13th for you?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is the atmosphere and the isolation. What Victor Miller, when he wrote it, he said, they had to be alone. They had to be cut off from anybody. And that you get a sense when they start joining together, having lunch, working on the camp, you get a feel for the camp. Like you get a feel for when the wind comes in and the waves are crashing and it's dark, and you know, you walk around the camp with them because that in the point of view. So, you know, Mrs. Voorhees looking at them all the time too. And just inside the cabins, everything's really real because that's the way I think the camp it was. I don't think that was the production design. I don't think they
not much set dressing here.
No, at all. And
No.
that's what I really like about it. And my favorite kind of slashers are when they add a psychological component to it. And this one is very much a psychological slasher in a lot of ways because, you know, when Brenda gets killed and, you know, help me. It's the opposite of Psycho, right? Mrs. Voorhees is talking in Jason's, the split person. Like, maybe that's something the show should elaborate on. Is she a split personality? Like a true, does Jason take over her at times? You know what I mean? And it's little things like that. And that will go into with the kills too, for another good, I'm sure. But yeah, I just like the rest of the movies. You don't really, I guess number 2 a little bit, but you don't get that feel of the camp. And it spawned the whole camp slasher, and Halloween was the pioneer, but this was, well, I guess maybe Psycho was the pioneer, but Halloween started that slasher. But I think Friday the 13th really created the tropes, and then really spawned you know, the slumber party massacres, the sleepaway camp, you know, all those, you know, the golden age just took off, right?
Yeah, Friday the 13th definitely kicked off like the trend, you know. It was like you know, Halloween was like the kindling in the fire, and then Friday the 13th was like just pouring gasoline on that motherfucker, and then here we go. Like every year there's just going to be some sort of a handful of exploitation slasher movies. God, it must have been an awesome time to be a teenager in the early to mid 80s.
And it grew. Friday the 13th grew. When Richard Rucker donned that mask, then they had a brand. Then it was branded now. And then that's when I think it became icon, pulp culture, just got into the pulp culture mindset, you know.
Absolutely.
Yep. What's up, Chad? How's it going, man?
The Chad
is in the house. For me, it's I'm not really one to dive into the mood and atmosphere like good old Dave McRae, but the mood.
You have to say it like this, Matt. Mood and atmosphere.
That is what makes this movie a little bit more special than the rest, even though I do like others in the franchise a heck of a lot more than this one, but this one just it actually feels like a camp. The nighttime feels like nighttime. The moonlight seems like that's what it really would look like, unlike having a bunch of bright ass lights and shit at the nighttime. It's lit very well. Obviously, that might be due to the lower budget. They couldn't really afford to have any more lights than what they had, but it worked in favor of this movie. Like you said, whenever Mrs. Voorhees is out in the rain, help me, like that's some creepy shit. You don't know who's out there. What it may be a kid for real, but then you're like, wait a minute, there's no kids at the camp yet, so that don't make any sense. But it's and like you said, this kind of set up the camp slasher because I don't really know. Was there any camp slashers before this? Probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
This one really set it up. Like the camp is just a different atmosphere compared to Halloween in the suburbs. You know what I mean? Camp you're in the woods. There's nobody to help you. You're isolated. So I think that really helped this movie. And upon rewatching it, like you said, as a kid, skip this one. I don't want to watch Jason's mom doing shit. Okay. I want to watch Jason do stuff. So the franchise started at part 2. And for a lot of people, it probably still does. But now, for me, I started Friday the 13th, 1980, because I come to admire this movie a lot. As cheap as it is, and, a big of a ripoff of Halloween as it is, they said it, so it isn't like it's being mean. It works. It's a different breed of slasher compared to Halloween, and I think it's something that we needed, and it helped, obviously. Boom! 1981. You got the golden year of slashers, just boom, 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 boom. And it just continued. And we need a rebirth now. So come on, Crystal Lake, get back here and get started already, all right?
Yeah, you talk about it being dark and everything, but there's one shot in this movie where Mrs. Voorhees is looking for Alice and she's behind the canoes or she's behind the dock or, but they got the fucking moonlight shining right through the trees. It brightens the whole thing up. And I'm like, how come that shot looks so damn good? And I'm going, they just must have had the moonlight set. Like they just happened to film it at that, where that moonlight was, because you could see the moonlight actually coming in. I'm like, the whole movie would have looked like that one particular shot. I'm going, I don't think it would have been criticized as much, but I also like that raw, gritty darkness too, movies too. So, I kind of like it. I think it adds to the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think there's something that's what I really love these lower budget movies that, there's so much ambition there. I think, I don't know how, other than creating content and stuff, I don't know. Jason, I know you're a musician and everything, so you probably can understand this, that sometimes when you're like limited in your resources, it spawns a totally different kind of creativity. There's the creativity of the piece of work you're trying to do, whether it's a song or a film or anything like that. And then there's like, you find that through your limitations, you're like, okay, now I have to get creative on how I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. So there's movies like Friday the 13th and My Bloody Valentine and the original Evil Dead that just like, they wear their ambition on their, like, you see the ambition everywhere, and you see that they were like, fuck it. Like nothing's going to limit us in doing what we want to do. And I think that comes across in this film. This film just has that really natural, there's something about it. Sometimes maybe it's my punk rock nature. Sometimes it's like, I love those albums that maybe they sound like a little like crappy, but they also sound like totally organic and like true to like the kind of thing, the vision of the piece. And it's like, so I don't really mind, like you're saying, Jason, like I like the grittiness of this original film. And I think that does carry over to the like 3 sequels after this still even have some of that grittiness.
Yeah. Also, it's the only Friday the 13th movie, the only one where I've always found it unsettling. It's the kind of movie where you watch it at midnight, and once you go to bed, you're kind of creeping up the stairs, like you're moving. It's got that. It's not the same feeling as The Conjuring I had when I first saw that, but it's similar. And I think it's because of that Jason out of the lake thing, and then it goes so you're just unsettled at the end with the music. The score, what Manfredini did at the end there with that score and everything. It's very it does get my heart racing. It does make me feel a little anxious, a little bit of anxiety, and none of them do that. No other Friday movie has ever done that.
I get that one with the sequel. I do. There's like that shot in the second movie, and I know we're talking about the first movie, but just to piggyback on that, there's I mean, all the stuff with Ginny and Jason is great, but particularly when she finds the shed and she's like taking a moment to sort of look around and take in her surroundings, and you see him running through the window in the background, that there's just something that's so like almost voyeuristic about that shot that's like makes you, it just feels real. And but I totally hear what you're saying, Jason. I think that this one is it totally, it's a standout in the franchise, for good or for bad. Some people are not going to like it as much. Other people, maybe they find in time that they appreciate it more. But it certainly is a film that stands out within the franchise. And it's sort of unique because I think for most people, it's not the favorite in the franchise. Where I would say, like for me with A Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, my favorite movies in the franchise are the very first entries. And I would say it have to be very rare that somebody would say that the very first Friday the 13th is their favorite in the franchise.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely not one that you hear too often. I mean, there's some like Dave, obviously. His favorite is the first one. But
most people would say like 4, 6, and probably 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's top 4 for me. Number 1. It's in the top 4. Always has been for the longest time.
I want to say I have it somewhere like 6 or 7, but it may change obviously after rewatching these these rankings change like every year, to be honest.
You'll have
like
to do a new ranking once you're done with the redo, you know?
Yep, that's coming.
And I see Robin Daniels there in the chat giving me shit. I do love an underdog, Robin. Thank you very much.
He loves an underdog story. But like you said, you were talking about the music at the end. Obviously, Harry Manfredini, man, knocked it out of the park in this movie. And especially that last scene when Alice is in the canoe. They're playing that melancholy,
the nice trippy acid music. Yeah, it's like you're listening to like Yes or something like that.
Around, and also, and I a friend of mine on YouTube, Beth from Miss 80s Movies and Music, she got me the vinyl. She sent me the vinyl, the original Friday. It's great. And by the way, people, you see my VHS? Watch this fucking movie on VHS. It's completely different because in the Blu-ray they clean up a lot of things.
Well, like, you can actually
see. Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened.
I did
do this with your hands. Do this with your hands.
I did it.
Oh,
you okay?
But when Annie's throat gets cut in the Blu-ray, you see the color, you see the prosthetic right on her neck. VHS, the blood is dark. It's almost like it's a dark red. It's not like a bright. You know what I mean? The grain of the VHS. It's such a better. Like I really recommend anybody get a VCR, find Friday the 13th if you can, and it's great, especially with like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. They're all great on VHS.
Yeah, they did a good job on that Blu-ray box of versus like the DVD of matching that skin tone a lot better. But I totally know what you mean. There's something about, it was shot on film. It was shot to be lo-fi. So when you listen to it or watch it in lo-fi, like that's kind of the way to go,
Yeah.
2, 4, and Jason goes to hell are Zodiac's favorites. Way to go, buddy.
Hot take on the third one there.
Hot take. I've come around to Jason Goes to Hell. I'm not saying it's a great movie.
It's got some great stuff.
It's bloody, got cool kills. Is it a Friday the 13th movie? No, but it's good for what it is.
Well, it is. Steven's Steven's an awesome character. I like seeing like kind of the nerdy guy be the tough guy. I've always been a big Dead Alive fan. Like I kind of like that. He's wearing a Letterman jacket, but it's because he's in the band.
Hey,
he's basically one of the bullies from Halloween.
Shut up! Halloween Ends taught me band geeks are tough. So I don't.
They are. They can be. Anyone can be a bully, folks.
Anybody.
No.
It's true. What else we got? Obviously, we didn't even talk about the special effects in this movie from Tom Savini. I mean, come on. I thought there was. I think there's some better ones. Obviously, the final chapter is better in my opinion than this one, but these special effects are really good, and especially my favorite one, Mrs. Voorhees' kill at the end of the movie with Tom Savini's hairy knuckles flaring in the air. You just can't beat it. It looks so real. It's unbelievable how real that looks.
Yeah, it's again, it's so much better on VHS. I was gonna bring up the kills too, Matt. Special effects, kills, whatever have you.
Mhm.
It would have been nice to see a little bit more, but I think maybe because of budget, they couldn't show them
Mhm.
all the way they wanted to. But I'm hoping that the Crystal Lake series kind of reimagines that whole movie and
Mhm.
like because now that you don't have to hide Mrs. Voorhees, maybe we'll see it
Oh
from
yeah.
her perspective. You know what I mean? But I love
Yeah.
Marcy's kill is my favorite in the whole franchise. Best kill in the whole franchise.
That's the
Um,
axe to the
Damn.
head?
yeah, because because they with the light and the shadow, and you
Yeah.
see it on one side of her face, and then she slides down the wall, and her mouth drops like a dead
Mhm.
person, and it's just like her eyes kind of twitching and shit like that. But it's the way it
Mhm.
sunk into her face. I'm a sucker
Yeah.
for the old axe, and I just think that is one of the best kills I've ever seen to this day. Never mind, like, and I do like how it's built up a bit too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
How
like that.
she's
I love the shot of the axe, like, hitting the light and the
yeah,
Oh
light
yeah.
swinging. I like, that's a really nice little piece of extra business in there. I can't remember the character's name, but, Bing Crosby's son, when they find him, like, just stuck to the door with all the arrows.
Harry Crosby.
Oh my gosh,
Or
that is,
Bill. His name's
like,
Bill in the thing.
I kind of like I'm one of those guys where it's like I don't mind like an off-screen kill or two, like it's totally okay. Like I think it's sort of like dynamics, like it's
Uh-huh.
fine to not everything has to be
What did
Terrifier
she
where you
do?
literally
What
pouring
like
salt.
what did she do? Because
Well,
if you watch that scene, he's fixing the generator and they're focusing on the door like she's gonna appear. And I've always
Mhm.
thought, why couldn't you show Mrs. Voorhees in almost like the fisherman thing, like the
Okay.
raincoat, and
mm,
she's just sitting there with blood on her hands and stuff like that? Like that would have been cool if she just like a Halloween thing, like she like
yeah.
Yeah, I
pops
can see
in,
that.
she pops out. But they didn't do that. But when I watched this movie, I'm like, there's so much missed opportunity in some of these scenes.
Well, and it probably is like you're saying, it's probably because of budget, and it's probably just because they weren't really thinking. They were like, they probably weren't thinking it was going to become a classic, and then it was going to be poured over
No,
by
just
three nerds 45 years later. Uh,
whoa.
and it's almost like, what does it even matter? Like how he got there? It's just a cool, like the just the shot, just the aesthetically, it's a really cool look. I mean, blood is just dripping all over him. It does look like some sort of like otherworldly sort of thing happened to him, but
Yeah.
there's just something about, I don't know, to me it's just sort of stands out. It's like it's
His
like a
eye got
camp
all,
crucifix. It's like a
his
camp
eye
crucifixion.
his eye got
Mhm.
all fucked up in that too.
Yeah.
Like the blood got under the eye prosthetic, or I
Oh.
don't know.
Yeah, his
Yeah, he
vision was
was.
all screwed up for a while.
That's ghetto filmmaking.
Yeah, no insurance, just like, let's go make this movie and hope you're not disabled once we're done.
Ghetto filmmaking. And obviously Kevin Bacon's kill. I mean, come on,
Oh yeah,
fantastic. Especially
so
with the thing
classic.
breaking and then they gotta
Yeah.
blow through it and the bubbles and shit. It looks better probably with
Yeah.
the fact that he blew with his own
Oh
mouth
fuck.
instead of
Oh yeah.
I did this skit for YouTube once, and I made an axe, and I had a pump pumping through it, and I told my wife, okay, you're gonna hold the axe, it's in my back, and the guy was blowing through it. It failed. It was horrible. So this is what Davey's talking about. This kind of like when you got to think on your feet. I got everyone out in the cold there. There's an axe trying to in my back and everything like that. And so what I did is when I filmed it, I told them all, okay, you can go back drinking, whatever. So I cut my hands full of blood over a log, just shaking like this while the axe was, because that's all I could. I thought of
There you
Passion
go.
of the Christ when Jesus' hands are when he's being
Ah.
whipped, and I went, that's all I could think of, and I edited this thing together once, and I was like, you know what? It was my first thing I've ever did on film, so
Yeah.
You
I don't
gotta
have it
start
anymore,
somewhere, buddy.
unfortunately. But
Well, there's just something about like certain imagery is just like really visceral and like kind of just, it just conjures up a feeling. So it doesn't even always have to be like, it doesn't always have to be,
yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense. Like can it get a reaction? Can it make you feel something? And yeah, that kill with all the arrows and stuck to the door. Holy shit, that guy's a mess.
yeah, he's
Jason helped out.
it's
Maybe.
sometimes those off-screen kills, like Davey said, are pretty cool, right? Like Paula's and Jason Lives. Well, that's not off screen, but you don't really see what's happening to her. But
Oh,
I think it's really effective.
Yeah.
But
I think a
I don't
little
want
bit
to
of
get off
everything.
course here, but
Herbert brings up a good question. I mean, Mrs. Voorhees took out 5 men in this film, but could not take out 102-pound Alice in the end. So
She's exhausted. She didn't have her Metamucil. It's late in the day.
Jason wasn't there
yes.
at that time. Just saying.
Yeah.
He was busy. He was in the lake preparing for the second part when he popped out. That's where he was at that time. So, speaking of that, does Alice fit in the good category for you guys? Is she a good final girl, or she just happened to be the last one left?
I think she's a good final girl. Like, I like her throughout the story. You know, that third act gets a little boring, like literally watching her make a cup of coffee. Not very exciting, but I think it works with what the movie is, especially if you don't think about it. If you think about it as just being a one-off, like, I think it works fine. There's nothing exceptional. Of course, like, Ginny is amazing as a final girl. Like, Chris is really good. So I think the franchise sort of learned and improved upon things as they went. So I don't think it's anything against Alice. It's just like the sequels have the benefit of hindsight and being and bigger budget and belief in what those films are doing. So yeah.
I think Alice is I think she's okay. You know what I mean? I'd like to talk more about certain things on the bad there, Matt, but I'm more mixed on her. I mean, she's but she doesn't make any other dumb decisions that Jamie Lee doesn't make in Halloween. I mean, Jamie Lee throws a knife away when the fucking dude's not dead, right?
She can't wait to get rid of the weapons in Halloween.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, done.
So
one use.
That's why the argument doesn't hold up about Alice when people talk about. She's throwing wool and she's still, she can't put a bullet on a fucking gun. She's panicking and all that. But the thing where I think they make a little mistake about is that this don't give her a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Like Brenda has a lot of personality. Marcy has a lot of personality. Alice is more, I don't know, like more reserved and stuff. But I want to talk about because it's kind of fits in the bad a bit. But I think she's a survivalist, I guess. She's surviving. She's hanging on by a thread, kind of, because she gets her ass handed to her at times in this, right? And Mrs. Voorhees didn't kill her because she didn't sneak up on her like the rest of the victims. They were all snuck up on. They didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, it probably gets tougher as the night goes on when once people realize what's going on, you know. But just the idea of like Alice knows that something is amiss by the time that she meets Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, she's definitely got this innate sense of, we got to get out of here. Let's just walk out of here right fucking now. That's what she tells Bill, right? And that's when you start feeling that real isolation. I find I'm like when everyone starts getting, taken out.
I mean, they're miles away. They're at least like 5 to 10 miles away from that diner. Yeah, probably closer to 10 miles away from the diner, right? So yeah, it's pretty rough going there.
Yep, and the cop guy was terrible that came out there on the motorcycle. So he's not going to help them for sure later.
We'll talk about him.
Yeah. Before we move on to the bad, Alice, she has grown on me. Okay, I wasn't the biggest fan, but Jason. Jeez, you knocked my light over, you son of a bitch. You're next week. Take a break. Alice is coming around, dude. I'm really enjoy. She's not the best, but she's not the worst. I mean, she fights back at least. She doesn't just like go and hide. She has to fight when she fights, and when push comes to shove, she stands up and does what she got to do. She takes out the bad guy. So, I mean, she definitely has grown on me. But is she one of my favorites in the franchise? No, I don't think she's a lot of people's favorite in the franchise. So,
I think she would have had more. She would have had more to do if Steve Christie were around a bit more, because you can tell they've got like some sort of, it seems like they were kind of together, but maybe he did something, or maybe it just didn't really work very well when they were, getting together at first. But he's basically like, come on, give me another shot. But he's out of the movie for a lot of it. So I get the feeling too that maybe Alice is a little bit older than the other counselors, but she still rolls with them and plays strip Monopoly and all that kind of fun stuff. She's, one thing they don't really dive in too much is that she's like an artist and everything like that. We probably would have seen more of that if Cunningham and company knew that this was going to turn into a massive franchise. Like we probably would have gotten more character moments. But yeah, I think she's, I don't know. I kind of like sort of what Jason was saying. Alice and Laurie Strode, when you're just talking about the first movies, I think they're relatively comparable here. They're like good enough. It works. It's like it fits. It fits the tropes and everything of those early slasher movies, but it's nothing
it's
like
they wanted to scream. They want that scream, and Alice had a good scream.
Yeah.
Like her or not, she definitely has a good scream. And before the bad though, Matt, we could be talking about Mrs. Voorhees here. The best part in this movie.
We kind of didn't talk about her at all.
For me, she's the best part in the movie. Like just that, and Victor Miller always said he was always writing the script in her mindset, always thinking of how this woman was feeling. You know what I mean? And a good friend, Nick Cooling from the Movie Ranker, brought this up. I think when he reviewed these on his old channel, when Ned fakes drowning when he's playing a joke. Like that. It's almost like that's another thing that just sets her off.
Sure.
Oh, you know what I mean? And he brought that up. So I'll give him credit for that because he brought that to my attention. Like when she's looking and she sees, then it's like,
I didn't think about
crap,
that at
now
all.
it's game on now, right?
Making light of it, yeah.
But I just hope that this new series we get this dives right into her breakdown and everything, and succumbing to darkness and all that kind of stuff, losing a child, like, and what she'll do so this never happens to anybody again, kind of thing. It just, I really you love the character, but you're kind of like, we don't know enough about her yet. we just don't know enough about her. But if we're going from part 2 a bit, when when Jenny puts on the sweater, she seems like kind of a strict mother too. Like when she goes, Jason, mother is talking to you. Like, so they give you little things here and there about what this woman may have been like. It's kind of like what Norman Bates' mother was like. You only know it from his mind, right?
Yeah. Betsy Palmer's awesome here. When she's giving her soliloquy about what happened and everything, and the whole, today is his birthday, and one of my favorite lines in the movie, and I don't know if everyone loves the delivery, but I love when she says, "Look at what you did to him." I fucking love that delivery. I love that moment.
Me too.
I'm a big Jaws fan. It's kind of like she's wearing a Quint sweater in this one too, so that's kind of fun. And I've mentioned this a couple times here and there, and maybe this is something they will explore in the TV show, but the last few times I watched this movie, I kind of came to this weird, like, I started asking myself this question of like, wait, like what, when she imagines Jason drowning, she can picture it. Like we see what she sees in her head.
It's kind of weird.
And you can hear him asking for help. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what if she had something to do with it? Like, what if she grew tired of whatever it was, she had something to do with it, and maybe even worse, she allowed it to happen. Like she could have saved him, but didn't. And then has this psychotic break, blames the teenagers. And the way that she reconciles that is like, well, I'm gonna kill them, and that will make, like, you know what I mean? Like you see people that do these crazy things, like even in real life, they find some weird twisted way to sort of justify it. And I think that's another like something interesting about the character, because we don't know much about her, that we sort of get to postulate a little bit.
Well,
I like that.
Does say, she also told Alice, I was working the day that it happened. I was the cook. And she's like, Jason should have been watched. Maybe she started seeing it from the window and she didn't get there in time.
True.
But I like what Davey's thinking here. I've also wondered, what if Jason was a little vicious bastard and she was covering shit up that he was doing? You know what I mean? Like was he that innocent? Like you could almost do a little twist like that too. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues you could take this, but I like what Davey's thinking too about, but like do we
I mean-
want to feel completely sorry for her, or do we need something in there to go like, okay, this woman she's lost it now.
I think with how over the top she is about these murders and everything, like that's sort of what makes me think, well, maybe this wasn't the first time. Like maybe there was something in her this whole time that was sort of bubbling up, because she's very creative with these kills. She's very she's instead of just getting back at the people that just were responsible, she wants to.
Everybody.
It's almost like she has a compulsion to get back at people that weren't even there, weren't even born when it happened, like, or were babies when it happened. So that's what sort of makes me think like, oh wow, that would be really interesting that she's got this psychotic break that makes her that she really is evil, that she isn't just somebody that had an injustice done to her.
She also wearing a ring that was in the script. Mrs. Voorhees is wearing that high school ring where she had Jason out of wedlock and stuff, and her this is the backstory that Betsy Palmer gave her so she could play the role. And she said that it was also like, so she has Jason out of wedlock, her parents disown her, and then they're bumping around, where do I take this kid, where I go, the father was just a one and done kind of thing, and Crystal Lake takes her in kind of, but she looks at sex because as something that ruined her life in a way. And so she sees all these people, Jason drowned because of neglect, and this couple was having sex with each other. What that just sets her, that sets her off, right? And so I like that little backstory she gave herself so she could play the role. So I would think they're going to tap into that.
They've got to,
right?
Yeah, I think the show there's a lot that the show could do to really build a new foundation moving forward and sort of reset everything and give us a little bit more. And I think it's okay with a character like, with Pamela and Jason. I think I don't want backstory when it comes to somebody like Michael, but when it comes to like Freddie and Jason, we already sort of have it. So to find out a little bit more, I'm totally down.
All righty. Wraps up the good section of this discussion, but with the good, there's always got to be the bad. And this picture may be a symbol of something that's bad, or it depends who you are. So, Davey, what do you got in the bad category, my friend?
I think when it comes to the bad in this, there's not much for me, really. I think it would have been cooler if at some point we do see Pamela earlier on. We do know that she exists within this world, because it's not really a whodunit if you don't know that the person exists. So, as soon as she pops into frame, you're sort of like, oh, this must be the killer, because you haven't seen this person all movie. So, even if she's just at the diner at the beginning, or, something like that, like, just some sort of indication that she's there, I think would have been great. Like I had mentioned when we were talking about Alice, I think like a little more business with her would have been nice. We get to know the other characters, I think, a little bit more than we really get to know her. The bicycle cop or the motorcycle cop, my God. This guy is so corny. Just the way he talks, almost like he's in an episode of Dragnet or something, when he's like saying all the names of weed. He's like,
grass, Colombian gold, man. Do you dig it?
Yeah. Can you dig it? Like, what? Like he is in the 60s, like writing this coming up with this dialogue. And he immediately is just like assumes that the kids are high for no reason other than they're young. I mean, I don't know if it's bad. I just think it could have been like,
we ain't gonna stand for no weirdness around here.
Yeah. I told you to can it, Tonto, or whatever he tells Ned. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's really bad or if it just could have been a little bit different, or if it's meant to be humorous. I don't really know. But yeah, I think that the bad for me, there's not much here. I would just like a little bit more development on a couple, on our final girl and on our villain.
Okay. Jason, what do you got in the bad?
I'll piggyback off Davey there. I think we should have seen Mrs. Voorhees at some point. My what I would have done, and I really like this idea, is that I would have had Annie arrive at the camp. Like Mrs. Voorhees actually introduces herself, takes her to the camp, shows her the kitchen, and says, I used to cook here, but I had a bad thing happen here. I don't like being around here no more, kind of thing, without pointing too much fingers at her. Like, just make her be a real sweet, sweet, sweet. That way, Alice met her. All these people met her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this is Annie. I picked her up on the side of the road. Instead of killing her there. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
actually, and then she just takes off for you don't see her again. You know what I mean? You don't see her again until the end, right? And then at the end, you're kind of like, oh, it's that sweet lady. If it would have been all performance, that's the thing. It would have to rely on the performance. And then she twitches and snaps out. I think this movie would have been held in much higher regard if it went something like that. Editing and pacing. This movie probably only needed to be an hour long. I mean, you know when Crazy Ralph is driving his bicycle away when you're all doomed, it lasts for it keeps going and going and going and going. And same with when the chief there, the cop, he turns around, goes all around in the circle, Alice making the coffee and all that. A lot of things linger when they don't have to be. And storylines things they set up that really don't go anywhere, like Steve Christie and Alice having that, she goes, it's a problem I have, is she talking about the camp? Like, is it, she doesn't like, because why didn't they tap into that? Well, she's had a traumatic thing at a camp when she was a little girl or something like that. And this is just bringing back things. And Steve Christie to me, Davey, it didn't look like they were together, because when he touches her, she's almost like, what are you doing? Right. Like, for me,
it seems like they've been together at some point and he's trying to rekindle it, sort of.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I got.
And Marcy tells that story about the dream, the shower dream and everything. It's kind of like, why is this in here? Now, if Mrs. Voorhees would have killed her in a way that was kind of like, I don't know, that something reflected that dream, or maybe that's the curse is getting into, like, after she has sex with Jack and everything, and maybe she falls asleep, and then that dream shows up, and the curse is getting into her nightmares and everything, and there would have been more of a little payoff. So things aren't paid off as much. It's like there was just some nice dialogue, and it's just cut off. But other than that, though, I don't really have anything else, really.
Okay. For me, you already mentioned it, Mrs. Voorhees. Maybe just fix the whodunit aspect of this movie a little bit, but you guys already talked about that a lot, so I'm not gonna reiterate the same exact points. Like you said, get rid of the making tea, coffee scene, get rid of some of the lingering stuff. But if they did that, this wouldn't even have been a feature-length film. This would have been a short film, probably more likely. But this franchise likes to do that because part 2 shows the fucking ending of part 1, and then shows her taking a shower, walking around her house for like 10 minutes. So these movies do that. So it is what it is when it comes to that. And the last thing for me, you guys both like it. I need some more on-screen kills. And I know it's probably budgetary constraints. And you guys know that I love Carnage Candy and I love action like 24/7. So maybe 1 or 2 more kills on screen and I'd have been happy. Yeah. But other than that, my views on this movie have changed tremendously compared to what they were 5 years ago. So it's a good classic horror movie of the slasher subgenre, and it just helped create this amazing franchise off of this movie, because obviously other slashers came and went. They tried, they're pretty good. They made pretty good movies, but obviously it didn't have the staying power that Friday the 13th had. And that's even without Jason being in the first movie. So that has to say something about this first movie of this franchise. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you're coming around to it. Hey, I'm kind of like that with My Bloody Valentine. Every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. I thought, like, the last time we watched that, Matt, I was like, I don't know if it was just Matt's personality, but I was like, jam. I'm digging this more now. I don't know, but I didn't like it that much when I first watched it.
Oh my
That
gosh,
original?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original. Yeah,
Oh, I love that original. Yeah.
I love it
Yeah,
so
it's really
much.
fun.
growing on me. It's growing on me.
I mean, it is what like whenever I watch a movie that is from another time, especially if it's not a movie I grew up with, I just
Mhm.
try to like kind of put myself in that era, and just sort of
I can
be
see that.
understanding of how it looks and
That's what you got to do with Friday, right? That's what you got to do
yeah,
with Friday. Like no one saw kills like this on screen. They
yeah,
would have been like just freaking what?
yeah.
You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Like we're so desensitized by this shit now. You know
Now,
what
yeah,
I
yeah, it's like
mean?
that wasn't
Like
enough.
yeah, like you. Even when the big hype of Terrifier was on, I remember. Okay, here comes the scene. I'm waiting for it, right? And I'm
hmm
like, okay, that was gross, but that's how fucking desensitized.
yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos that by the time I watch Terrifier 2, then like I'm like, well, whatever's in this movie is everything that they did in the first movie was probably the grossest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to the second movie, I was just thankful that there was some sort of story
Yeah.
because the first movie is just like a series of skits. So yeah, I mean, I think that like this movie does a really good job of upping the ante and like bringing us into this new age, and having it, it's got a nice little story that was able to be turned into, like you said, Matt, this long running franchise that we still want more from, even though it's been 16 years since we got a feature length film.
And I'll defend Alice one more time a little. I mean, if you look at the victims in this movie, what does Annie do? She goes, no, no, and just let someone cut her. Let someone
Yeah.
just go like this. And then Marcy just goes, ah! It doesn't try to fight. Like
Yeah.
doesn't do this, doesn't do
Yeah.
that. So you look at that context, you're like, yeah, Alice was the first thing she did is try to fight back, right?
Blu-ray
Yeah,
dropping some facts. Betsy Palmer was on set for 10 days and got paid $1,000 for each day.
wow.
Wow, she's
That's
ripped.
why she. That's why they. That's another reason they didn't show her. I think
Sure.
they wanted to a lot
Yeah.
more, but they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And she wasn't agile enough to chase Annie down in the woods. Apparently, at her age or whatever.
That
So
makes sense.
they didn't. That's why they had a man or whoever it was in there a lot. But
Hey, what's up, Coy? How's it going, man? Ultimate movie review. Happy Sanjo. Coy, what's up, buddy? Good to
What's
see you.
happening, Coy?
what's
All
happening,
right.
man?
So we got the good, we had the bad, and now we gotta have the judgment, ladies and gentlemen. We got YouTube community gave it a 3.7 out of 5. Instagram gave it a 3.9 out of 5.
Oh, nice.
And now it's up for let me close the poll in the chat. We'll see what they gave it.
Yeah, it's very
Wow.
close between
Oh
4 and 5.
no.
Oh, there
No.
it is. No, you
It's
got
my
it. What
bad.
happened?
Yeah, I closed it too soon because now it's tied. Okay, so
Oh,
we'll give it
whatever.
a 4.5. The chat gave it a 4.5 out of 5, way higher than I thought it was going to be honest. 39% gave it a 5, 39% gave it a 4, 18% gave it a 3, and only 3% gave it 2 and under. So not too bad. So now it's up to us to decide what we choose to give the original Friday the 13th out of 5. Davey, what do you got?
When it comes to giving star ratings, it's interesting. It's like, are we comparing it to like every film of all time? Are we comparing it to horror films? Like, how are we doing the 5-star rating? Because I would say, like, as far as like horror films go, and especially within this franchise, like, I'd probably put it at 4 out of 5. But if we're talking like films at large and we're comparing it to movies like Citizen Kane and
Like a
Network
2.
and stuff like that, then I'm probably saying a 2 or a 3. But I always sort of think of it, especially with horror, I kind of
Just
think
horror.
of it in my
Yeah.
own little myopic way. So I actually voted in that poll in the chat. I put 4 out of 5 because I'm just thinking about within the franchise, I would put it in, the higher part of the franchise for me.
Okay. Jason?
Well, yeah, I like what Davey said. I've done over 150 movie reviews, and it's not easy giving things. I do letter grades. It's not easy because I'm the same way. Do I pitch this movie against The Godfather, like a film.
Yeah.
These are movies. These are fun date
Yeah.
movies. But even though when I first reviewed it, I gave it a B, what I call a B minus, so a 3.75 out of 5. And I'll stick with it because if they would have had a little tweaks here and there and stuff, it would definitely be a 4. Like I give the final chapter a 4. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna stick with my B minus 3.75 out of 5 for this. I still love it. That's not a bad rating, guys. By the way,
we know
Well,
how
we'll round it up to a 4 if you're doing full star ratings, right? 3.75 would be rounded up.
yeah,
So
pretty
close
much,
enough.
I guess.
Yeah, because it's either amazing or shit. There's no in between. So that's just how the way people are.
Yeah.
Me personally, back in the day, I gave this a 2 out of 5. That's what I gave it when I reviewed it the first time.
Wow.
Growing up a little bit and enjoying this movie more, I landed a 3.5 out of 5 stars for me, which I think is fair. I think it's fair. Probably going to land right in the middle of the franchise for me personally, but it definitely does some things that the other movies don't do in the franchise. So I have to appreciate it for that. Just the way that it looks, the camp atmosphere really feels really good. I mean, Mrs. Voorhees, fantastic. You don't see it coming. You really don't. And then you see the middle-aged lady, and you're like, holy, what? That.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, a lot of people speculate Jason helped her behind the scenes, but maybe we'll talk about that in Crystal Lake TV show. That would be awesome if they did. Because I don't think he really died. That's just my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, that'd be cool if they go that route too. But I appreciate this movie more than I did before, for sure. It helped build an amazing franchise that, like Davey said, we still want more today. So, I mean, how could you hate on this movie? Even if it's a little slow, a little boring, dragging in the middle, the third act is great. And I think the characters are pretty decent enough to have a good time and enjoy. The camp atmosphere is fantastic pretty much in any film that it's in. So I love it just for that alone, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's what sets it apart. And it was trying to rip off Halloween, but I think it as a whole other flavor, especially someone like me who grew up camping. And I didn't go to camp, but grew up camping in the woods with my dad and everything like that, tenting and all that kind of stuff. And I just, every time even when I'm by my campfire at my trailer, I just, wouldn't it be great to watch Friday right now, right out here?
Hell yeah.
It's just got that. And I have done that with my projector screen. So
I'm going to give it to you guys straight about Jason.
Yeah.
He's naked in the woods, right? He's right over there. We're checking that.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies, man, that's I always when I marathon these, I always start with the first one. Always. I would never skip it. It's just one of those movies, man, that's got a lot of charm to it too. It's just there's something about those movies that are comforting and just I know that sounds strange, but not to a horror fan.
You're not wrong.
But to maybe someone outside horror who's not into it to go comforting, you find Friday.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like, Halloween is my favorite slasher series, but
me too.
I might watch the Friday the 13th movies more often because I can just sort of put them on in the background while I'm doing stuff. It's a total roller coaster. They're really accessible and really digestible films.
It's funny. It's funny. Like horror and action, I like equally because, I don't need a whole lot of plot to an action movie. I need a guy coming in, kicking ass, getting the girl, saving the day, and I'm fucking satisfied. And they almost have the same feel, like in that sense. Like this is what we want out of a slasher, and I'm okay if that's what it gives me. This is what I want with an action movie. Now, when an action movie or a slasher has a lot of story to it and it's executed well, then you're hitting another level of something. And like for me, Nightmare on Elm Street's like that. It just hits on another level, right? So
yeah.
You are not wrong. Oh, Coy, you sexy son of a bitch. You just became a channel member, and then he turned around and gifted a channel membership.
Watch me long time.
I got them. I got it.
And he
got
got
the
it.
channel membership. Thank you, Coy. Thank you so much, brother.
Only thing bad about that is I'm not like Davey. I don't do a lot of stuff with my channel membership, so I'm sorry for that.
I'm trying to get there. It's tough, but I'm
I just
getting there.
I always say I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna go back and revitalize it, and then I just got so much shit going on that I just forget to do it. But I do appreciate it very, very much, and any support on the channel is always appreciated and welcomed if you feel the need to do so. So I thank you, Coy, for doing that very much. Let me see. Antona says Friday the 13th, 1980 is his second favorite in the franchise. That's good to hear. What's your number one? If you don't mind me asking. Herbert says, how could Alice not suspect Mrs. Voorhees? Dead bodies everywhere and someone getting out of a Jeep with a huge grin on her face from ear to ear.
That's hello, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
Hi.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, when she says I'm not afraid, I'd be like, you're the fucking killer. Because why are you not afraid?
Oh, I'm not afraid, dear. Get the fuck out. Where's the keys? The keys.
Yeah.
It's just this place. It's just this place.
Yeah.
You never should have opened this place.
When she does like the really like leans up against
on the door. Are you okay?
I love it. It's such like great like overacting, like stage acting kind of stuff, but I love it. There's something so classic about it all.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She didn't want to do it though. She did not want to do it. She said, "I'm not doing a horror movie," but she did it anyway.
She needed a car.
She needed a car. And Gene Siskel tried to dox her by putting her address in the newspaper.
He did. What a
telling people to write her hate mail. Like, what a creep. Like, he's the real villain of Friday the 13th is Gene Siskel.
You son of a
bitch. People got to face the fact that it's a business.
Yeah.
Some they do things for money. Michael Caine bought his mom a house because of Jaws 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he did it for them. He did it for the freaking. Sometimes it's just a paycheck. Other times it's a real passion project.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it all, it's only entertainment. So it's not promoting violence against any sort of people. Siskel and Ebert, what the fuck?
Good people. Good fucking people.
At least Roger Ebert liked Dawn of the Dead. At least there's that.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the movies they liked sometimes. I think one of them liked Jason Lives.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not.
I would.
I'm not.
I would imagine it would have to be. It would have to be Ebert over Siskel, because Siskel just thought it was, it's just celebrating like violence to women, and I'm like, what? Like, have you watched these movies? Like, all sorts of dudes getting killed, bro. Like, what are you
people in
talking
wheelchairs.
about?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
he kills everybody. It doesn't matter. He's not discriminatory.
Killing dogs, because that whole ending of part 2 is a total fantasy. So
yeah, it didn't happen.
Muffin is dead. Jason ate Muffin.
That's coming up next week. So got some things.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. That's one of my favorites in the franchise. So it should be nothing but love coming from me for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was a banging episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Judge. First, second time I've ever done this live. So usually don't do movie reviews, but when I do, this is the way that I like to do them. And no better way than doing them live with Davey, Deathray, and Jason from BackTrack Cinema. If you have not subscribed to these two, links are in the description box below. And let's find out, before we head out of here, what's coming up on everybody's channel. Davey, what you got coming up this week?
So I'm actually going to be over on Jason's channel on Thursday. So I'm going to be guesting on BackTrack Cinema. We're going to be doing a watch party of this very film, Friday the 13th from 1980.
Hell yeah.
The original plans were to have an episode of Late Night with the Davey live tomorrow at 9 p.m. with Jamie Hart, but she had something come up, so we're going to push that to next week. So other than appearing on Jason's channel, I'm putting together a video for Mother's Day.
Nice.
I am doing a little video essay on how Evil Dead Rise is secretly a pro-motherhood film. So that's what I'm working on. Trying to get back into the pre-recorded stuff as well as doing the live stuff. So keep an eye out for that, guys. And You'll see me live all the effing time.
Yeah, I see that. You are live a lot, my friend, but you're killing it. So, yeah, I mean, you gonna do it? Do it.
I can't help. I'm pathetic. I have no friends, so I jump on here and hang out
Has
with you
no
guys.
Friends.
I can relate.
You guys are my friends.
I don't
You
have
guys
any
are my
friends either.
You guys
Neither
and
do I.
everyone in the chat. These are the people that are the people in my life. So love you guys so much.
Yeah, my wife's like, "Yep, they're not your friends. You're a loser." I was like, "Thanks, appreciate
She's
the
like,
confidence, honey."
You know what
Sounds
she
like my
should
wife.
say? She should say, Matt, if they're such good friends, why don't you hop on a plane and go visit one of them?
Yeah, I'm not going to Arizona. Sorry, Davey.
Matt's never been on a plane, Jason.
Yes, I have once.
What?
Oh, I thought you told me you never.
No,
had.
I went to Florida once.
I've been to Dominican twice. We went
Nice.
for our honeymoon and our 10th year anniversary, which we're going on 18 years soon. And 3 times to California because I got family there.
Fuck.
So
Only once.
that's but the way I'm in Canada, so
yeah,
I don't know I don't know how well received going to the States would be right now. I don't know. Political climate's
I think it would be fine, but I think if you listen to the media, you would think that it wouldn't be fine.
Yeah.
And I know the media is blowing everything out. I know the people aren't like that. It's just you're always gonna get the idiots, right?
Sure.
But
absolutely.
anyways, it was fun. It's always fun going to the States. Beautiful country. I like it. I want to go to the camp Friday the 13th there. So one day, gentlemen.
One day. It's so close. It's only like 6 hours away from my house, so I don't have an excuse really. But I'm gonna get there one day, for sure.
This Friday the 13th, it's gonna be Jason's birthday. This Friday the 13th, drive out there.
Wait, hi.
Hang out for a bit, shoot a video, walk around the lake. Yeah, something.
Is Jason here? They're like, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, never mind. Bye.
Pay an old lady to stalk you through the woods, you know?
Oh, that's my
Hey, take the wife, and then you get the Kevin Bacon honeymoon suite.
Yeah.
It'll be Facci Cinema boner instead of Kevin Bacon's boner. But it is. We're not gonna talk about that because that's gross. Jason, you got Friday the 13th coming up on Thursday. Watch along. What else you got coming up? Anything else coming out?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm still doing. I'm guesting on Kyle's channel, Flet's Movie and Pop Culture for the Rocky. He's had me on for all the Rocky movies, so we're doing Rocky 5 and Rocky 6 on Mondays. I think the following Mondays. But as far as what I'm doing, I got Davey coming on for Friday 13th, as he said, Friday the 13th watch party. It's gonna be fun. We're going a little earlier, 7:15 p.m. So I think we're gonna have a blast with that. I've really prepared this video this time, or this stream, so I'm hoping to stay on task. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There'll be trivia, guys, and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm one of the people who actually shows the movie. You'll see a little picture of the movie about the size of like in here somewhere. You'll see it, but it gives you something to follow along with.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna have a good time. I like getting together with Davey when he had me on a show, so I'm just reciprocating with him here. And then the following Friday, I got Vincent DeSanti and James Sweet, directors of Jason Rising and the Never Hike Alone saga. Just to get into Crystal Lake series, and we're going to talk about Predator Badlands because all three of us are really diehard Predator fans too. So, and I love picking Vinny's brain, man. He's just such a delight to have on to talk about Jason and where this series may be going and so that's good. That's just gonna be a blast, man. So that's gonna be next Friday night. And I got Empire Strikes Back watch party for the 45th anniversary the following week.
Nice.
With Caleb from the Dark Ether Files podcast. He's a huge Star Wars fan. And then the following week, I got Filthy Dan for the Department of Fear coming on for a movie review and discussion. Wait for it. Maniac from 1980. As I love that flick, and I want to talk about it. And Dan's a big fan of that film too. So that will be the live shows in May. And I've got I'll have a T2 review coming out. I'm working my way through Friday the 13th reviews. Got Manhattan will be the next review I do for Friday the 13th, and all of May is my subscribers pick the movies that I'm going to review. I left it the whole month open for them. So I've already got one person talked about a movie called Sissy. So I just watched that on Tubi, and I enjoyed the hell out of that fucking movie.
I want to say I've seen
So
it. I think.
I'm excited for that. But I got all over the board. People are like, Underworld, Taxi Driver. I'm like, oh man, this is getting freaking insane. Like we got a whole bunch here. So
Nice.
yeah, so I open, and then starting, I do a theme every month, so to keep myself organized. So June will be 90s action. So I'll be reviewing 90s action movies. So yeah, that's a lot, guys,
Yeah.
a lot, and that's
Holy shit.
I'm fun. I'm really fun. It's fun doing the live again. I took a break
Yeah.
all winter because I got no heat down here, like in this
Mhm.
room. So I had to stop doing the live
okay.
shows, and I was getting kind of burnt out from them. But so I'm trying to like keep the live shows different and not so. I felt mine were getting generic, and I don't want that to happen. So I just stopped for a
Mhm.
while. And a lot of people have been coming out, man, and they've been saying, "I love your programs," and they text me after, and they're like, "Oh, that was such a great show," and all that kind of stuff. So
Hell yeah.
sorry, it was long winded, but
You're good. You're good. It's the best when you get the compliments after, or the comments that say they just discovered you and they're really digging your stuff. Like it may be small to them, but I really do appreciate it. I'm sure, but obviously,
Oh my
you
God.
guys
Yeah.
appreciate it as
It's the
well.
best. Yeah. The interaction, because I'm such a big audience member myself. So, it's really cool just when people, feel comfortable enough to reach out, and it's always flattering. And,
Mhm.
it's cool to show that accessibility too, that, to be able to interact with people on a different level. I mean, most of the people in the chat here are people that I've hung out with on other channels chats before I started my own channel. So it's really cool to get to know them on that different level, and of course get to know you guys like that as well.
Yes, sir. For me, next week, obviously, Friday the 13th, part 2, with the guys from Unita, Christian, and my boy Nick from the Lost River Drive-In. We will be on talking part 2. Very excited for that. And then the following week will be Good Real Hunting coming on to talk
ooh, that'll be a good one.
part 3, which is my favorite in the franchise. So that's going to be a lot of gushing from me. It's going to be a good time. Really, really good time. I'm glad. I'm fortunate enough, like you said, to get guests that want to come on the channel, because obviously you could have people that don't answer or respond, or just like, I'm not really feeling this. But to get people to come on is fantastic. How big or how small, I obviously appreciate any time that they can give to come and hang out. So this was fun as hell hanging out with you guys on the first night here at Camp Crystal Lake, where neither one of us guys got killed. So that's a plus, but maybe until we shut the camera off, then that's a different story. But
You'll find me arrowed to the door.
I'm gonna go find Brenda in the archery zone. See you later.
There you
go. You enjoy that. But everybody, if you're watching after the fact, please like the video, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to these two fantastic guys, and let us know what you liked about the movie. Leave it in the comments section. Comments do help as well. I don't get very many, but when I do, I get very excited. So please drop them down. You'll notice I'll keep dropping shorts every day because I keep watching 2025 movies. I've picked up a lot within the past week or two, so go check out the shorts page too. There's a lot of quick reviews on there. No spoiler stuff, so if you're worried about that, go check it out. Really appreciate Davey coming on and Jason coming on and spending their Tuesday night with me. I'll be back next week. He always will be and continue to be Davey Deathray. That's Jason from BackTrack Cinema. He'll see you in the movies. And I'm Facci from Facci Cinema, and I say, have a scary night at Camp Facci, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're all going skinny dipping because the stream's over.